So welcome to the second part of this lesson on understanding the masculine and feminine in French. In our previous video, we saw an example of what it means to have the feminine and masculine, and we made it clear in that video that the French feminine and masculine applies to 1. Nouns, 2. Adjectives, and 3. Articles. So in our next lessons, we have to be careful and be paying attention to these 3 elements very well. So in this video, we are going to see the first criteria we look at when we want to know whether an element is a feminine or masculine. Okay, the first criteria to look at, what to consider. French has about 3 to 4 criteria, standard criteria to look at for us to be able to distinguish how if a word is a masculine or a feminine. So the first criteria is what we call le genre naturel, which is the natural gender. Okay? Le genre naturel. Le genre naturel. And that means the natural gender. Okay? Le genre naturel is when we know that everything is created in terms of feminine and masculine. In every creation, especially the living things, humans and animals, we usually have masculine and feminine, which means if you have a male, anything related to a male is masculine. Anything related to a female, it is feminine. That's what this means. So to take some examples, if you take a word like garçon, which is a boy, what we saw in the previous video, garçon obviously because it talks about a boy, a human boy who is a male gender. Therefore, the word is automatically a masculine. So, garçon will always take le garçon. We'll come back on the articles. So, it is a masculine. If I say fille, which is girl, the word fille designates a female gender, right? It is naturally a female gender. Therefore, it is a female. So fille is a female. Okay? So even a goat, when it is a female, we say la chèvre. We don't say le mouton or le cabri because we know we are dealing with a female. So it is the female. Chèvre, c'est une femelle. It is a female. Okay? So anything that has the female gender automatically is feminine. Anything that has the male gender is automatically masculine. This one is very quiet and easy to distinguish and to notice. It's easy to find. So whenever you meet nouns or names that are people's names or people's titles and people's or animals' names, it's usually easy for you to distinguish because you just need to know their natural gender, which is are they male or female. Okay, so we can take some more examples and see how it goes. So for example, if I take papa, which is father, right? Papa is always masculine because the father is male. The same thing, mama. Mama is always feminine because it deals with a female, a lady. Okay? So in general, to distinguish the gender or whether the word is masculine and feminine, using the natural gender is quite easy in French. Okay? It's quite easy. You just need to know. And that will raise another question, which is how would I know whether the natural gender of something is a masculine or feminine. For example, if you did not know the word garçon, if you did not know what the word garçon means, that it represents a boy, how would you know whether you should say le garçon or la garçon? That's a big question, but unfortunately, the answer to it is that you just have to know the word, and you have to know. If you don't know what the word is, it will be very difficult to guess the actual gender. So that's where vocabulary comes in. You have to be reading and know some of these words, okay? And that allows you to have that advantage. So on this matter, this is the point. This one is quite easy. So the next part is the grammatical keys, okay? So we can clear this. So the next one is le genre grammatical. Le genre grammatical is a way of looking at the structure of the words, okay? Structure of the sentences to be able to guess that this is a feminine or a masculine. And when we get to when we get to this gender, the grammatical gender, the first thing we look at is the article. We mentioned this earlier. It's the article. So one key, grammatically, one key we can use to distinguish whether a word is masculine or feminine is the article. And some of these articles are the following. For the masculine, we have un. We have un. Okay. We have le. We have les. Okay. We have ce. Let me write it well. We have CE, C and E. Then we have CET. So we have un, le, les, ce, cette, or ce as well. You can read it as ce. So what it means is that whenever you are reading a French text and you automatically perceive le somewhere, whatever word is following, whatever noun is following, that noun is automatically masculine. It is like we did earlier with le garçon. Automatically, le indicates that we are dealing with a masculine case. The same thing, whenever you perceive the keyword un, automatically whatever follows is masculine. Le is masculine. Ce is masculine. Even sometimes say, okay, that is a bit another extreme case. But you have set as well, C-E-T. You remember, you might have set which is C-E-T-T-E, but this is not the case. This is C-E-T. It means we are dealing with masculine. Then the next one, which is feminine. What are some of these articles we can look at when it comes to the feminine? Feminine. So we have articles such as la, okay, une, ma. So here we could also add mon, which is the opposite of ma. Okay. Then you have set, which is the opposite of this. Set. And sometimes de. Sometimes de. Okay. So whenever you see la is the opposite of le, we'll have different courses on articles, what exactly they are and how to use them. But this course is straight to the point, what we are interested in. So la, une, ma, cette, de, some are there to indicate to you that we are dealing with some feminine. Okay? They are there to tell you that we are dealing with some feminine. So we can take some examples. For example, okay, that's a lot of examples in examples. So let's take some examples for each one of these cases. For example, for the masculine, some of these examples we can mention are le mouton. Le mouton. Okay? Le véhicule. Le véhicule, which is a car. Un arbre. Un arbre, which is a tree. Then un vélo, which is a bicycle. Un vélo. Then ce train, which is a train. Ce livre, sorry. Ce livre. Cet homme, which is this man. Cet homme and cet arbre. Cet arbre. So these are some of the examples we can look at using these articles. So with the mon, for example, you can also say mon papa. Because remember, papa automatically is a masculine, because remember the natural gender, which is, it is a male. Okay? A male is always the father. So mom must always, papa must always be masculine. That's why we can use mom, because I am possessing him. It is a possessive case. Then the next examples we can look at for the feminine. La table, for example, which is the table. La table. La chaise, which is a chair. Une balle, for a ball. Okay. So there's also an example with the une balle, which is, we can also have un balle, but it's a bit different. Okay. Une maison. Une maison, which is a house. Ma chemise. Ma chemise. Ma chemise. Ma femme, which is my wife. Cette robe, which is a lady's dress. Cette robe et cette fille. We have seen cette fille already. Cette fille. And in the case of the de, you can have cases where we have a sentence and then de vendeuse. The vendeuse. We'll have the chance to study these cases. Une place de vendeuse or une fête de vendeuse. In this case, vendeuse, we know we are dealing with feminine. They are ladies who are selling, ladies sellers. And automatically we have their natural gender, which is they are ladies, they are females. Therefore, they are feminine. So anytime we want to speak of many of them, and we talk about a case de, something of the, we just use de. We don't need to add s to de, which is de vendeuse. No, we just say la fête de vendeuse. Okay, we automatically know the word will go plural. These are cases we will see later on how that happens. But the most important thing is we are looking for keywords to notice when grammatically a word is masculine or feminine. So we saw the natural gender. We know that, okay, whenever an element is a male, naturally, everything about it is masculine. And whenever something is female, naturally, everything about it is feminine. Then the next key we saw is how to look at the grammatical structure automatically, even if you don't know. Remember the last question we asked is, how do we even know that this word means this or that? So we said, okay, even if you don't know the meaning, the true value that is inside the word mouton, at least as soon as you see this article in front of it, know that this thing is a masculine thing. Okay? As soon as you see this article in, automatically know that, oh, it is a feminine thing. So this is kind of you needing to memorize these articles. You need to memorize them. And like I said, we'll have courses on what each one of these articles mean. Okay? Le, la, les, ce, cette, and so where do we use them and so on in French. It's quite easy. It's quite easy. Once you understand the key, we will get to them. So these are some of the keys we can use in knowing, okay, if a word is masculine or feminine. But that's not all. As you might think, French is a bit difficult. Another case we usually see is what we call conventions and exceptions. Okay? When it comes to conventions, which means, okay, there's no particular rule about some words. Okay? Because they don't have any particular gender, or we cannot use their natural gender or any particular grammatical structure to distinguish them, either masculine or feminine. So what we do, we have agreed, or everybody has agreed that, okay, we should make them masculine or feminine. And that's all. And some of these cases are the days of the week. So in French, from Monday to Sunday, they are all masculine. Le lundi, le mardi, le mercredi, le jeudi, le vendredi, le samedi, et le dimanche. So there's no la lundi, no. So automatically, once you think about the day of the week, forget about any other thing. It is masculine. Okay? The same thing with the months. Le janvier, le février, mars, avril, mai, they are le. So we have these cases of conventional gender that we apply to this kind of words. Okay? So we will not bother too much about that aspect, because there are so many things around that. Also, we have the positions. So let me add the days of week. Days of week. All masculine. Okay? All masculine. Masculine. Months as well. All masculine. Now, we also have what we call positions. Positions. So the positions are a little bit challenging because the exceptions mostly happen here. For example, a teacher. Okay? Un enseignant. We say une enseignante. We'll look at that aspect, which is the termination of the words. The ending of the words also can give us a hint. So that will be in the next video. But here, I want us to look at some more conventional positions. For example, diplomat. Diplomat. The word diplomat, which is a diplomat, or it can be like an official agent, somebody working for the government. They are usually called diplomat or diplomat in French. So you can say un diplomate et une diplomate. Un diplomate, une diplomate. So there's no difference in that. The same thing, professeur. Professeur. So there are challenges with this kind of words. Are you going to say une professeur or une professesse or une professeuse? So these are challenges, but the easiest way to deal with these words when it comes to titles and positions like this, just use the article in front. So le professeur, la professeure, and simple, okay? Bring the articles. Le professeur, la professeure, okay? La peintre, le peintre, okay? Le directeur, but in the case of director, we have feminine, la directrice, and so on. But mostly in these positions, you just have to bring the article in front, either le or la. Sometimes, you don't even need to bring the article. For example, le ministre, okay? In the case of ministre, ministre, we say le ministre. But when it is a lady, we can say la ministre, but it is not mostly accepted. It's better you say Madame le ministre. So it means we have these words where the feminine doesn't sound cool at all. So what we do is we put Madame in front of it. Okay? And the same thing, we have words like in English, infirmière. We have nurse in English, which is mostly women. The same thing, infirmière, right? So, monsieur l'infirmier. You see, although the word has the masculine, but sometimes we can also add the monsieur on top of it to make it sound like we are dealing with a male or a masculine. So these are some of these cases I would like you to have in mind right now to help you distinguish which word or which article or which adjective is in the masculine state or feminine state. So far we have seen the way, the natural gender, which is easy to find and notice. And then we have the grammatical gender, which will help us with the articles. It's easy for us to distinguish which is which. But we said we also have conventions, which are common names, days, and so on. Some names that are made like, oh, that's how we go with these ones. There's nothing to do. And the positions, which are a bit tricky, sometimes we have to go by adding madame or monsieur le, or sometimes we just put le or la in front just to deal with the gender. Okay, we force it that way. So these are exceptions. And as you are reading French, you will definitely get used to them, because this case will usually be more. Okay, this will be often. And that's why these ones are exceptions, because it comes once in a while. Okay, so it shouldn't scare you. Good. So the next video, we are going to see some special cases, which is how do we, still in the grammatical aspect, how do we check the ending of the words to find out if this word is masculine or not. So see you in the next video. Thank you.